Steph Curry, he did fine. You know what I mean? He didn't play his best. He had 17 points, 6 for 17 shooting. But it was Steve Kerr, his coach, before the game who said that he is now at his peak mentally and physically. Do you think this is peak Steph Curry?
I believe Steve Kerr is exactly right. Now, people sleep on the fact that he's the only unanimous MVP in the history of the NBA.
Shaq is so salty about it.
That has something to do with the voters, but it also has a lot to do with his productivity and how he played before Kevin Durant arrived, before Boogie Cousins arrived. Now Klay Thompson is gonna miss at least half of the season. Steph Curry, the reason why we recognize him as the greater shooter with range in multiple categories, off the catch, off the dribble, off screens, from beyond half court, people contest Steph Curry because there's a chance that it could go in. He's efficient, flirting with 50, 40, 90 consistently. He's gonna be scoring the ball at such a high clip in such a short period of time. It's gonna be fascinating to see him put up those numbers this season.
Potentially, it'll be another MVP campaign for Steph. But Jalen, I want to talk about rookies, and understandably so. The media, especially, is so laser focused on Zion Williamson that they might be missing out on one of the best rookies. Tyler Herro of the Heat. Not only did he have 23 points last night, he had every single one of the Heat's first 14 points. Jalen, what do you see from Tyler that you like?
Those that watch this show already heard us have this conversation.
We've been on Tyler.
We were gonna talk about Jimmy Butler, right? And I was like, let me tell y'all something. The kid from Kentucky, Tyler Herro, let's make sure we talk about him because he can do it in all facets. He's really athletic. You see him do the dribble handoff action. He can get it off the bounce. He has a quick release. And the Miami Heat do a terrific job of player development. So they're gonna maximize his potential. He has an opportunity to have an amazing season. He will be a part of the Rookie of the Year conversation.
He really will, and he already has a step back of a veteran NBA player that's been around for 5 or 6 years. It's really impressive what we've seen from Herro. Remember where Herro was first celebrated on a national stage. And there's also something else I wanted to bring up. We always talk about dynamic duos in the NBA. There's so many dynamic duos out there. You know them, we've seen them, we've been talking about them all summer. But there's one that's being slept on. A newly formed dynamic duo that people don't really talk about that much, and they're about to. Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. They don't really get discussed when it comes up to dynamic duos, but they're both young and they're both so talented and they both can score from inside and outside. Look at this pick and roll from those two. Jalen, how much will we see the pick and roll from Luka and KP throughout the season?
So this is a modern day version of Steve Nash in Phoenix playing like an MVP and Dirk in Dallas also playing like an MVP that they broke up too early.
Okay.
So now you get both of these guys pre-prime. Okay, they're still very young. Luka's only in his second year, and people sleep on how tall he is for his position. He's 6'7". Dribble, pass, and shoot, toughness finishing at the basket, clutch late in the game. And Kristaps Porzingis is not 7'1", 7'2". He is 7'3", with the ability to step behind the three-point line and effortlessly knock down threes. I've said this for the last handful of months. There are gonna be like 3 or 4 players in the league this year that average 20 points and at least 2 blocks. He's gonna be one of them, and they are a dynamic duo. Rick Carlisle is a terrific coach. He's also gonna maximize their potential. The Dallas Mavs have something special moving forward with those two players.
They really, really do. I mean, it's easy. We in the media and as fans, like we have such a recency bias that we forget about just how good Kristaps Porzingis is. He can shoot 40% from 3, and he can post up, and he's a rim protector. He plays defense. I'm so happy that he's healthy, and I want to see him and Luka Doncic team up. They're going to be one of my League Pass teams. Jalen, I've also had my eye on some international basketball. Your soon-to-be adoptive brother, LaMelo Ball, has been playing pretty well while he's been overseas. In this previous game, he only had 9 points. He had 5 dimes, but he did it loudly. We remember that play. but he's really been doing his thing down there in Australia. Is he going to play his way into like a top 3 selection in the draft?
Absolutely, and his journey is so very unique that you would think just in a vacuum that players would be able to copy his road. But if you think back to his road, it was really long ago when he was a sophomore in high school scoring over 90 in the game. That was at least a handful of years ago. So he's been in California, he's been in Ohio, he's been overseas twice. Okay, so the infrastructure of his family dynamic allows that to happen. A dad that can travel, a brother that's in the league. So his situation now cultivated him to focus solely on being the best basketball player and maximizing his potential. So because of that, I do agree that he has what it takes to be a top pick like his brother was in the
I think
NBA
so
draft.
too. And I think as this season continues in Australia, you'll see him start to get talked about more, and climb in terms of draft stock.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.